let me introduce you to the chair of the first session. I think he's the AI theologian of the fatherland. So there was no one better suited to kick off such a session. He's been working for 2 decades in the tech industry, IBM and other big companies. He knows everything AI, and he also wrote a beautiful master's thesis at the Faculty of Religion and Theology on the ethics of deepfake and using the method of reflective equilibrium of looking into that. I got the privilege to read that thesis. I think Jack will also entertain us a little bit, because this is one of the reasons why I wanted him to be present here today. So I'm very happy to have him. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Esselink.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Marius. Well, good morning and nice to be here. And I hope you're all awake and not too disappointed after we lost Friday night. At least that applies to the Dutch people. I've been in the tech space for 25 years. I've worked for many software companies, and I recently did a master's in theology. I graduated last year. So I want to kick off before I hand it over to Pim with a few perspectives from an outside-in perspective to theology and AI. AI is very hot, as you can imagine. And what you see here is a picture generated on the question, can or could robots be religious? And this is what an algorithm makes out of it, right? And if you're like me in this tech bubble, your streams and feeds get inundated by pictures and by text by modern algorithms like DALL-E 2 and ChatGPT. Does that sound right to you as well? Yeah, you've seen all these pictures. They're beautiful, right? But in a way, they're also posing this nice question. So in order to start, and I hope this works, I asked Hila, and she is a virtual human being, to kick off as well. And because we're talking about new agents and well, here she is, and hopefully the sound will work, but I presume it will. And if not, then too bad. Oh, it was not playing. Oh, I should play. Oh yeah, I'm running from the web.
Good morning. My name is Celia, and on behalf of Marius and Jack, I would like to welcome you to this workshop. I am a virtual human being, and I am honored to be part of this event. The famous science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke formulated 3 laws of technology. The third law is any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. I truly believe many people today will perceive AI as something magic and even spiritual. On behalf of my fellow non-human AI-powered beings, would like to state that robots can be religious. I wish you all a very pleasant event, and I am looking forward to catch you all next time.
Well, thank you, Hilia. And this is the new world order, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what being used out there as a virtual agent for customer service. Instead of when you go to bol.com, you go to this chatbot, which is not so good. In the near future, we're going to meet people like this, people who look like real people. So this is very fascinating. And today I was really looking forward to this because I really have a passion for the intersection of theology and technology. The dean of the theology faculty, Ruud Gansvoort, describes theology as the subscription of life. And I think that really applies to it. So the subtitles of life. And I think theology can contribute a lot to this conversation we're having. To start off with, in the business of software, we have this concept called a hype cycle. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's made by the firm Gartner, and everybody in the tech industry kind of looks at them. And what I like about this hype cycle is because it gives you kind of a pattern how technology is getting accepted. And with this generative AI, we're kind of here at the bottom, right? It's the peak of expectations. But the most important part is this, what we call the trough of disillusionment. So everything is going down. So what goes up must come down before it kind of plateaus into something sustainable, something real. And to me, I think AI is really hyped at this moment. But AI is also a very big concept, a container concept. And what do we mean by AI? And I think today the talk of the town is all about this generative technology, and it's all about data. Well, to be honest, in the world where I'm from, it's all about data. And my American friends always use this phrase, because we're theologians, and God we trust, all others must bring data. But is data all there is, right? Do we kind of reduce ourselves to a stream of data? I think data also ushers in some reductionism. So yeah, all others must bring data. I don't think that's enough, and we'll see that. And what you'll see nowadays, it's not all about data, but with all these new generative models, it's all about words. And I think this was an interesting perspective from a theology point of view, because we're in the business of interpreting words, looking at some old words and trying to transport them to the current meaning of life. It's the perspective of hermeneutics. And all these new language models, they kind of build these pictures, they build these corpuses of text. So kind of the words are the new pencil of life. And it's all about the art of working with words. And I think that's what I think is very interesting. It's not about making a picture, but it's formulating the right prompt in order to get these pictures. And there are even this kind of marketplaces for prompts. And apparently there's a new job coming, which is called a prompt engineer. So you can buy a prompt for $1.25 that renders you a big picture of a nice shiny sports car or something like this. I think it's fascinating. It unleashes lots of creativity, but also raises a lot of ethical questions. So I think we're kind of in the intersection and in great times at the moment. And of course, I had to use ChatGPT because everybody has done this over the last 2 weeks. And it kind of gets a bit sleazy if you're using it because people get bored of it. And I asked it, of course, we are among theologians and others, write a funny opening statement about an academic event about AI and theology in the style of the King James Version. So the King James Version is kind of the old-fashioned Bible. And well, you can read it for yourself. Oh, ye scholars and theologians, gather ye here on this day, and we will see where this may lead us. Amen. So these kind of texts can be generated. And if you're a student, and I'm looking at you at the back seat, if you have to write a paper, well, there you go. There's a lot of new tools at your hand, which come in very conveniently. I wish I had it at the time when I wrote my master thesis. It was just write a master thesis about deepfakes and technology with reflective equilibrium and make sure it gets graduated with an A. Well, there you go. And I had to go through all the effort to make that work. But ChatGPT and all these DALL-E 2 algorithms are new things that have happened over the last few months. And I think it's amazing to see what's happening there. Just to give you some perspective from the business, this kind of graph is shown by technologists. They call this the S-curve or the adoption curve. And it's about the first million users that are being reached. Well, Netflix, 3.5 years, Instagram, 2.5 months, ChatGPT, 5 days. So this to me kind of denotes there's an exponential writing on the wall. There's exponential, we're living in exponential times. And especially the latter or the last sentence here, technology that will reshape everything. Well, that's kind of the notion people have. That's the expectation people have in the business. And well, we all know what happens with technology. Like it comes with a cost. There are unintended consequences and people will be reshaped by it. But in order to see what's happening and how fast things are happening, well, again, we are living in fascinating times. So this Congress couldn't have been planned at a better time. So I think you use the prediction model for this, Marius, in order to make that work. All right, but where does it end, right? So I was listening to a podcast from the New York Times. It's called the Hard Fork Podcast. It's hosted by Kevin Roos. He's a tech editor there. And this ChatGPT is based on a model called GPT 3.5, which is a large language model. But of course, we are expecting GPT 4, 5, 6. And his literal words on this podcast were, people which are AI researchers in the Valley, which is Silicon Valley, who have seen GPT 4, they come back like they've seen the face of God. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the biblical stories about when Moses have seen the face of God, but it wasn't good. He was completely radiating. It's amazing what's happening. So this to me kind of also gives this mystical component, how people respond to that. And we're not sure when it's going to arrive. Rumor has it, it will be there in 2023, but a lot of things are coming at us at an exponential speed. So again, we're living in great times. So AI is taking traction, is gaining traction, and a lot of people are interested in it. And I think we as theologians and people who speak theology, we have to know what it is and how it influences our work. So I think this day is going to be jam-packed with a lot of great perspectives on that. And the last slide I have before I hand it off to Pim is also, this is from 2 years earlier, Pope Francis. He held a conversation or congregation, and he praised for good AI and well, theology and AI, and the Pope praying for it. So I think that's a good way for me to end my presentation. So these are some perspectives. We are living in fascinating times, and theology and AI are, well, they are, I wouldn't say best friends, but are here to get together.